Today we're going to change the rear suspension, so cones and trumpets, etc. Take you through the process that you need to do on that, what to look out for and how to do it effectively. Obviously you should change all 4 cones if you're changing the cones rather than just a pair, but I'm going to cover the front in a separate video. First place to start off to do the rear suspension is oddly in the boot. You'll notice I've got the 2 tanks, which unfortunately doubles the problem for me. Typically speaking, you'll only have the tank on this side, but because I do rallying, I've got the extra capacity. What we need to do is to get into those back corners, there and there, because that's where the top for the suspension strut is for the damper, and you have to undo the top to get the swing arm off. So I'll go off camera to take these off. So tank is finally out of the way. There is the top of the strut. That's what we needed to be able to get at. The tank itself had been put in wrongly, the way it had been arranged with the straps and so on. So I'll post another video on how that should actually be arranged, so that that's, if you're looking for that, you can find it and work out how to do. What you should do while you're around the back here is look at all the lights, and you'll notice there's an earth lead there that's come adrift. That needs to be put back in place, and I just need to check out all the other connections there, make sure they're all good whilst the tank's out of the way. And it's the same whichever side you're looking at. All your fitments for your lights are behind the tank, and therefore not easy to get to, except when you're like this. Okay, so that's the nut off the top plate. Can't leverage the washer off, but that will come off as I drop it. So now we'll go back down around to the bottom. Okay, this is now undone, so I should be able to force it down. Of course, easier said than done. Just give me a bit more flexibility to be able to move things around. There we go. That's that all out of the way. So I just want to drop the arm a bit more so that I can get that out. Ease it off. are various ways to get this out now. You have to drop the arm, and then really you're just trying to break it here, break the seal. There we go. Once you've got that, then it's just manipulating the parts out. And there we go. There are the old parts out. Let me just support that again. There we go. It's all clean. That has remained in there, which is not surprising, it often does. You need to pull that out. There's a piece that sits on the end here, which that should be over. That's in terrible condition. That should all be greased up. Far from it. But still, we've got it apart. Just to give you an idea of the difference between the old and the new cones, you can see it's evident. I don't even need a ruler there to try and demonstrate to you. And the front was actually sitting down lower than the rear, but these needed changing as well. Just to show you how important the greasing is, these are the old ones. One with no grease remaining, and one where it's been kept well with the grease, even though in both cases the thing here had failed. It had moved away from the plastic cup, so it wasn't like this and overlapping and sealing, but it still kept the grease, and you can see the big difference. This is pitted and this is still nice and smooth. So what do we need for doing the cones? Clearly you need your new cone. These are the Evo ones, which got a good recommendation, so I'm going to use those. I'm using a high-low, so this is adjustable, and I'm sure I'll talk about it later, but the lock nut goes against the cone, not against the other nut. You see people trying to lock it there, and that leaves it free and moving. The advantage of this is that as the cone depresses over time, it allows you to adjust and keep the ride height constant. So well worth having. Because it's the rear, you have the extension arm, and then on the end is the knuckle. You need to just check you have got grease in the knuckle. I've got a pack of 4, and I still will check each and every one of these to make sure each and every one of these has grease inside that plastic piece, and that's the bugger to get out on the thing, as you'll see later. Okay, so hope you can see down at the end of the piece on our right is a small hole, which is an air vent to let the air out as you push the cup in. So if that's blocked, the cup won't go in. Therefore, we need to clear that out. So a little drill piece just to clear it out will be fine. Okay. Okay, so now I just need to let this drop a bit more, and then I can get it in place. There you are, slightly longer drop, and then that's there we go. Oh. Just make sure everything's in place before you start tightening up. Okay, I just have a problem here because I've got those on the sides. Okay. Make sure you put your top washer back on because it's almost certainly full. Oh, mine has. So I've done these up, and the correct setting on them is about 25 Newton meters, otherwise known as mechanic tight. So you should be just starting to compress the rubbers, no more than that, and you actually start to destroy the rubber. So that's all now in place, previously on the front. There we go. Job done.